Hey there, welcome back guys. In this video we're going to be building a car. Not that car, that one will come soon. But we're going to be building this thing right here. This little car that works with sensors on its own little track. Look at that. You get to solder all this. I'll walk you through it. You're even going to learn how to desolder a part if you make a mistake, because there's one mistake in here and we got to pull one of the parts out. Not pull them out, but actually desolder it using the soldering tools. And at the end, you'll be able to have, let me show you this. And when you turn it on, right, it's going to work. It's going to go on its track. See the LED sensors? One going red, one going on, one going on, one going off. You're gonna have you're gonna need a whatchamacallit, flathead screwdriver and some other tools. I'll leave a link in the description down below so that you can adjust it accordingly so that it just spins around the track. But let me show you how it actually works on the track. Okay. Kind of neat, huh? It just spins around in a circle. Okay, so what we want to do is lay all the pieces out according to how they're going to be soldered. It just streamlines things and leaves room for continuity when putting things together. So we're just going to have a look and see what's inside. Nice. We've got 2 motors, which is pretty cool. Kind of neat. Too bad there aren't wires on them already, but that's okay. We won't have any trouble putting them on. So we're going to put the motors here. They're heavy, so most likely they probably go on last or maybe first. We'll find out. A little baggie inside the bag is everything you see right there, but nothing in there. You can keep it just in case you have to return it if all the parts aren't there. Our battery connector, as you know, we always solder the batteries last. And then we have, oh nice, ooh, a board. Oh wow, this thing looked smaller on the internet. Looks like we're gonna have to try this out on the floor out there. Wow, oh nice, but what's great is that, look, everything is labeled. See that? You have your capacitor, you have your resistors, you have your diode, you have a really small layout for a diode. And wow, this is gonna be great. The board, really high quality board, which is awesome because you'll get more than one take on a board like this. So, you know, some of the boards you've seen in the video, this board on this game is similar quality. You get more than one take on this board too, because you can desolder and resolder again if you make a mistake. Whereas on the other one, on this one, really low quality board, and if you mess up, you probably have to wind up getting another kit. All right, so knowing that and moving forward, amazing board. Gotta love it. Looks like let's see, everything's labeled here this way, right? I guess this is where the LEDs go. Yeah, probably the LEDs, I think. Well, we'll find out as we move forward. What does that say? Yeah, it does say. It says LED, but you know, we'll put it together slowly. Right now we're just checking all the parts, right? I'm just laying them out according to how they either will be soldered on, or just laying them out, you know, to as we will need them, or laying them out in a way that works well and right for you. Some wire. Move this out of the way. Not sure what the wire is for. Remember, this is my first time. I'll just lay all these out here. And if you've done more than one soldering project, you'll notice that a lot of these parts just become familiar and second nature. So knowing that and moving forward, a little rod, right? Rod, and then we have a screw. It's a pretty big screw if you ask me. Again, when you see this thing online, it looks so much smaller. Some little turn thingies, right? We'll put these here. Remember, we're just going to put everything in order of how they might be needed or used, assembled. This is a nice little motor, pretty self-explanatory. Little turn dial thingy, not sure what that's for. I'll just leave that there. A little, the brains, remember? we always put the brains on last. There's the chip. Actually, that's the chip holder, and this is the chip right here. See that? We'll do that last. Don't put it in. What we do is we solder that, and then put the chip in. This way the heat doesn't dissipate into the board. Oh, nice. A little, looks like a photo cell. And then we'll just put this right there. You know, everything will go in its little place. It'll have a nice little home. Looks like that probably goes with there, maybe there. It's hard to tell. We're just sorting things out. Maybe put that there because we're going to use this space to work in. We'll put that here, and there's an LED. See that? Most likely that's probably what's going to be the sensor. See that? The one here, and it looks like it's I'm not sure what that is. Like a variable resistor, maybe. Possibly. Parts have changed over the years. Another variable thingy that changes looks like it's the dial that will adjust something, right? Capacitor. Put the capacitor here and the capacitor there. Looks like another photo. Whoops! Watch those little thingies. Looks like another photo cell or some sort of sensor. So we had another sensor here. Just keep the sensors together. Sensors might be what moves the motor. I don't know. A resistor. And this one, hopefully it's labeled. No, it's not labeled, but we know that there are two of these, right? And we know that there are two of these, so keep them together, color-coded. And we know that there are four of these resistors, right? And again, we'll put them together, and we don't want to mix these parts, so we'll put that there. Then we have a transistor. We'll keep the transistors right next to the capacitors. A little switch, which is great. How to turn it on. We've seen the switch similar to this over here. This game has a similar switch, except this game has a button. I don't see any button here. Maybe we'll come across it. There's a little bolt which will go right here because that's to the screw. We'll put the switch over there, maybe here, so we can see it. Just want to leave everything where I can see it. LEDs with the LEDs. See? Well, another rod. I believe there were two rods. There we are. See that? Could leave that there. Some wires which will probably go to the motors. Why they're different colors, I don't know, but we'll find out. And then we have little thingies over here. Little, not sure what those are. We'll keep these together. See that? Oh, the rods probably go through them. Yeah, that makes sense. See? And thankfully, there are directions. And we could always look at the picture online. Another transistor. Remember, transistor and resistors and some sensors over there. And the screws, which are really small, which we'll put these little things over there. So we have 4 screws of this type, right? Which can go, we'll put these maybe right there, right? Another 2 and 4, see that? Put them right there. And then we have 4 screws, right, of this type, which we'll put down at the bottom. So we don't get, remember, always sort the parts out because then they're much easier to find and streamline things as you are soldering. You don't want to look for them and go through the bag. You can, but it can make things reckless when it comes to the rest of the experience. So we have 1, 2, okay, and then we have here. It's possible that these might go on the rod. 3 and 3, right? So we have 6 of these. It's possible like one is for one side, one is for another. I don't know, but we'll find out as we move along. And we'll keep this and this together so that we know that this goes with this part, right? So we'll just, hopefully it goes on. There, if you've seen my videos, sometimes I've gotten bolts that just didn't go on. We'll have to unscrew it later, but at least we won't lose our nuts. All right. All right. And leave that like that. And then voila, everything is ready to go. Hopefully, I wish this wasn't, I can tell it's in black and white. I wish it was in color, but it's not. Oh, it looks like you can scan the QR code. Oh, nice. Installation, setup, and instructions. And what's great about the QR code is that hopefully we can see all this in color. But with the LEDs, let's see. So this is the schematic. So the on-off switch, which is right there's that sump pump again. So this goes here. The wires run through, and your on-off switch is S1, which is right there. So that would be this switch right here, right, which turns it on. So everything is labeled on here, right? Not there. So we need to find the one where the S1 switch goes, which is nice. That's a 10K. Oh, so that's where those variable resistors go. This is this. How many holes? Oh, nice. So the switch goes right here. Interesting. Well, on the other game, our switch had two connectors. Oh, nice. This is pretty solid too. And you can just push it right in. Nice. And then as you, when the wires go through here, you just look for the positive and the negative. But according to this, this is pretty true to the diagram. Look, see that? S1 switch. Battery most likely will go. So you have your motors here, right? It would be nice if the layout was exact, but you can just follow along. And if you're not sure about where the batteries go, just look for the positive and negative connector, which should be somewhere on here, which we'll find in a little bit before we get started. All right, so just have a look. Look at the layout. You don't have to lay it out like this. Like this doesn't have to be there. Maybe you might put yours over here. Maybe, but whatever organization setup works right for you, so that you can find everything. This ideally will work for me. And you'll see as I'm soldering, parts will just move anyway all over the place and get shifted. But the goal is to just know where everything is as I'm doing it. All right. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start out with our flux pen. It's the Chip Quick. Check it out, really neat. Should work really well. I just want to shake it up a little bit. Probably want to take this out if you put it in, just so we can get flux in all the areas that it is needed. All right, so in this case, we're going to just cover the holes. Nice little fun project we have going for us. Probably there. Let's see. Anywhere we will probably put solder. Most likely not there, but it's always good to be safe. You can't go wrong with the flux pen. And you know it's on because if you tilt it to the side, it just looks a little wet. And just covering every hole. There's that sump pump again. We're in the water table is really high here. Thankfully, it doesn't go as high as the table. See? Now we got the flux where needed. And now we're just going to, of course, put the cap back on so that your flux pen doesn't dry. These are replaceable. It's like 99 cents, these tips. Or maybe flip it over. Not sure. Or cut it, right? Not sure. Haven't reached that point yet. But if you shake it, there's a lot in there. It's just too bad that the maybe I rough handle it too much. So we're going to start with the 4 resistors, which are right here. Okay. And we're going to flip it over, okay? And, you know, just follow along. I'm going to put these in according to how they go. Green on the inside, green on the outside. Okay, so just following along. So on this side, I just want to make sure I have my glasses. If you can't see, you just get a pair of these. They work really well. Okay, now that we have everything laid out the way we're going to use it, you don't have to put everything this way. There's no rhyme or reason. This just makes sense to me. Maybe for you, the motors will go there. Maybe for you, these things will go over here. So again, what the key is to set it up so that everything is organized so that you can just pick it as you move along through the soldering process. Okay, so we'll start off first here with our little soldering, not soldering, it's called the chip quick. It's got it's liquid flux to help stimulate the solder when you have it on your board, so that the parts will just, do what they're supposed to do when the solder is applied to it. I'm just applying this to all the areas that are going to need solder, and try not to rub it with your fingers so you don't rub it off. And I guess we'll just put it like that upside down for now. Just gonna put that away. This is the soldering iron. Well, keep anything plastic away from the soldering iron, anything that could possibly melt accidentally, because sometimes, as you know, parts move, and I think that's pretty good over here, except for that. And that's it. We're gonna need here some wire cutters. Okay. This is the soldering iron we're going to be using. It's the pencil. Really amazing. I have a soldering iron over there across from me. I haven't used it since I've gotten this one. This is just phenomenal. It's lightweight. This is a little stand I found for it. I've been trying to find one, just $2. And so that when you put it down, hopefully it will work. It's actually my first time using the stand, but I've been using it in many of my soldering videos. All right, so which means that hopefully it works. Well, we know the soldering iron works, but hopefully the whoops. Yeah, we know that works. Hold on one second. Please stand by. I'm just trying to get the cord to the soldering iron. A little bit of a mishap. Please stand by. I don't think this one's going to work. Hopefully it does. No, I guess not. It's too short. Okay, so let's try. I know I could take the one from here, but I believe we need that. It's okay, we always have a plan B. Let's see if this will actually work though. Let's see. Turns on. It's just got to heat up to 600 and something. Let's see. Yep. Looks like this will do the trick. And there's that sump pump again. Just keeps going on and on and on and on. Just gonna bring this through, right through here, so that nothing. There. Voila. Okay. Make sure you got your solder. We have our solder here. Let's see if this thing actually works. Yeah, not bad. Fair. I have to get the longer cord ready for next time. You could also use a battery if need be. Let me see if I have somewhere around here another cord. Yeah, it's down there. I'm not gonna get it. Anyway, it's fine. This setup will work really well. Just take as much as we need when it comes to the solder. Okay, and we're gonna do the resistors first. Okay, let's see the soldering iron. Nice, it's heating up. So the resistors, you can follow along. I'm gonna follow along here. Just gonna turn my phone so it doesn't fall asleep. Let's see what we have here. 1 second. Settings. Just gonna set the display. Okay, so for these, right? These are the, let me just double check. The resistors, 5-1. I believe it could be, yeah, it says resistor is 5-1. Let's see what it says on here though, because it'd be nice to know what exactly the numbers are, right? All right, so Resistors 5-1 and 5-1. Interesting. Okay, so the green part, right, goes on the inside. So we're just going to fold these a little bit. Might have to have some tweezers handy just in case. Okay. Roughly, this could take like about an hour, I'd say, if that makes any sense. All right, so knowing that and moving forward, we are going to just assemble it. Let's see what we have here. We're going to put one in there, one in there. Hopefully, if we're lucky, they will just pull right through. See, you want it to be like that. See that? And then you can just fold that like that. And you could use painter's tape to hold it. This way you can just solder them all in at one time when it comes to the resistors, because that's what we're going to do first. Okay. Now, just put it through. Remember, you can just pull it. A little bit tricky. Just gonna. That's why you want to fold them and bend them. And then the other piece, the other resistors go the other way, facing that way. So you see green, brown, black, silver, brown, and then this is the same one, but the green, remember, is going to be facing that way. And you can follow along on the diagram that's provided in the Amazon page, which is really good. The directions there are awesome. I'm just following along too. See? Voila. And then this should go right in like that. Make sure, remember, the green is on the outside. Oh, I like bending them. Bending them works really well. It allows them to go in nicely. And then, let's see, look, just do like that. See? And then do the same thing with that one. And, oops. And then, yeah. Kind of neat. And then the same thing with this one. Wow, see how it slipped out? So, well, of course it slipped out because it was standing on the other one. But we might be able to push these down, push the board down, right? So the pieces don't pop out if we start low. So let's say, look, see, hold it down. They're not going anywhere, which is great because if you've known in some of the other videos, if it's higher, the pieces just slip. I don't think we have enough power on this one because it's at 300. Let's see if, because this one has to be at 600 to actually melt the solder. Let me see what I got laying around. Hopefully. No, it's not hot enough. Oh, there we go. Oh, because it fell asleep, which is good. Oh, so see, it's waking up, which is awesome. Once it gets to 600, you will see the solder melt. See, 600, 611, 613, 615, 618, 6 something, 650. This is good enough. Okay, so nice. See how it just wakes up after it was sleeping? And now we should be able to see. There, voila, there's one. And there's two. Oops. Two. See that? And there's three. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. Oops. Four. Sort of, as you can see. Make sure. Nice. Nope, that did it. And then we have this little thing here. Let me just bring it over to clean the solder out, just to keep that tip tinted, and so we don't want to have burnt solder on our tip. Nice. Where's our solder? Right there. And then you do the same thing to the other ones. You push down to make sure, and then maybe we don't want that. Yeah, we want it to be nice and even. See, this one came out much better. As you solder more parts, whoops, it just gets better. You get better with your experience. See, that one's better. And then just hold it. See, this one's better than the two up there, which kind of have a little bit too much, but we can fix that. And by taking some off as needed, just melt a little bit so that it sticks to the soldering iron. See, voila. And now hopefully this stand thingy will work. See, it's a little makeshift, but it does the job. And now we've got 4 on. See, voila, and they're nice and evenly on there. Okay, so then we just clip them and clip that. See, we clip that, and then we clip that. Just clip them. See? Voila. All right, 4 down, many more to go. And the wire clippers is magnetized. If you have a magnet, use it. I have a magnet laying somewhere around here, but I'm just not going to go crazy looking for it. But it's nice to have stuff like that handy, so you can just use them on an as needed basis without going crazy looking for the stuff while you're soldering. All right, so knowing that and moving forward, we're just going to flip it over again and look at the other parts. What would be next? So next they want us to do, see, we just follow along here. There's a little diagram. See, next we're doing these resistors. I hope they're the right ones. Oh, so is that green? Can't tell. Oh yeah, it is. Interesting. It looks like it's green, but oh, I see. No, it's black, black, silver, black, black, brown. So we look for the silver, black, black, brown. Okay, so that's this one. Looks like silver in the picture, but it's not. And it's an R9. Thankfully, they provided these directions. Silver, black, black, brown. So it's brown, silver, black, black, brown. And the picture does not do any justice. So you see that? But we know that brown is going that way. Okay? So knowing that and moving forward. So remember, it's silver. Well, no, it's brown, silver, black, black, brown. Let's just double check with these things. Let's shed some light on here. Yeah. All right. So then again, we do the same thing with the tweezers, right? See that? Just bend it that way, and then bend it that way. Nice. And then we do the same thing here. We run it through the hole. Okay. And remember, the silver, black, black, brown will go in the order according to the diagram, which isn't so bad. See, just push it through and it should flow right in. Nice, voila. See? And then you put the other one in the same way too. It'll tilt up like that. And then we just bend that. See, we're just going to bend it. And we are going to bend this one. There. And now we'll just straighten it out, right? So that it fits right through the hole. Okay. Sometimes they label these, believe it or not. These are not, like the resistors, so you know which one goes into which one. And then now we're going to wake up the soldering iron. Okay. Just go this way. There's one. And then we'll get another one. 2. Whoops. 3. And 4. Voila. And we want to clean off the tip a little bit so that the remnants isn't there of whatever it is you just put on the board. And we're just gonna get this off from there. Voila. Now we're gonna clip here. 1, 2. And then we have the other 2, right? 3 and 4. Voila. Put that over there. See, we're moving along quite well. And just double check. Make sure everything is accordingly. See that? Okay. Kind of neat, huh? Just zoom in a little bit. All right. All right. So now let's see what parts they want us to do next. Whoops. We've got the, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 resistors, which is great. And now we're going to put the last 2 resistors in, which is a no-brainer because it's brown, something black, brown. Didn't we just do that one? No, let's see what's left. Yeah, we just did that one. So it's this one. Oh no, brown, black, brown. Okay. So we have brown, black. These colors are really, really hard to see, believe it or not. I'm going to guess that the sequence of colors, right? We'll go, let's see. We just follow it. Thankfully we could see the 2 center colors, which is black, brown. So we know that brown, black, brown. It looks like purple, believe it or not. That's a bummer. They could have done the picture a little bit better. All right, so it's going to be brown, black, brown. Brown, black, brown, which will go this way, okay? Gosh. All right, so remember brown, black, brown, black, brown. Okay. Just going to bend this like we did the last one. Just carefully. There's that sump pump again. Kind of neat. Voila. Remember, brown, black, brown. So that's going to go brown, black, brown. And that's going to go here. It's a 1K resistor. Remember there was a code to it. Bad beer bots are bad bugs, but vodka goes well, something like that. All right. And where's the other one? I just had it a second ago. There it is right there. See, pieces will wind up on different parts of the board. But we're brown, black, brown, okay? Not bad. Kind of neat. I think the trickiest part will be this and probably putting the wire on the motor. Okay, so we got that. Number brown, black, brown, because that's the order we're putting it in according to the diagram in the picture, which does not do justice because you kind of have to decipher it. Hopefully, and this is on a PDF online that's colorful, somewhat colorful, because we can't see the colors. Sometimes you might have to pull this through, and then just do like that. See? And then maybe pull. And then remember, you're going to push it down, right? So that the pieces will just push through so that there, they don't fall out. And now we're going to wake up the soldering iron. It's at 300, as you can see. It'll wake up. Wakes up pretty fast, if you ask me. And then we'll just push down on these pieces, right? So that remember we already put flux on it. So it's going to do whatever it needs to do. As long as the soldering is at 570. It has to be at 600. This one, that's what I set it to. Whoops. And then, well, you know what? We could leave it like that. I think it's going to be all right. There's that. There's that. Sometimes you gotta tap it so that the solder just spreads. See? Really easily. Except for that one. Sometimes you have to turn it around to have a better experience with the solder, and sometimes it'll just move, you know, and move in the direction that it needs to. We're going to clean the tip again. Really neat. What kind of solder are you guys using? Like, are you using the soldering pen or something else? Oh, see, this one needs to, it's all right. It would be nice if it was a little more in, but that's why it looks nice though. But that's why sometimes you use painter's tape so that the pieces just flow, and sometimes they have to be flush if there's a cover on it, like this one. You see the game right here. If the pieces aren't flush, the cover won't close, which is why sometimes you have to think ahead of time. Should I do tape? Should I not do tape? In this case, I didn't do tape because I know there's no cover and everything's exposed. But if there is a cover, you have to plan accordingly, because as you can see, this one is higher. Okay, it's not flush. It would have been flush with the board if I used tape, and you can use tape. What you do is you would tape it. I'll just leave the tape here just in case, because it would be. I like it to look nice and neat. It looks neat, looks good. All right, so let's see what they want us to do next. Hopefully the colors are correct. Bummer. Okay. After that, oh look, it's putting on the chip holder, and there's like there's a mark. Oh, you have to match the grooves. I'm not sure. So there are little grooves here, right, on the chip. Oh, I see. So there's a groove right there on that side. So that groove has to be matched, I guess, because that's the flow of the logic on the board. So I can't put it this way because the groove's not that way. So it actually has to go this way. But I'm not sure I want to put this on first. So as you can see, the pieces are bent, which is fine. Use your tweezers, right, to just bend them in the right direction to make sure that they fit. Remember, the groove has to go to the groove. This part is pretty self-explanatory. And on the other games we built, it didn't matter which way the chip went. This chip holder went because the chip was just put accordingly to the way it was supposed to go when you popped it in. I'm just debating whether to put this in or do the other parts first, because I like to start low and then high. But it looks like all the other pieces are higher, right? Because it goes from the chip to the transistor and the capacitor. So now we're going up. So now it gets a little bit tricky, because this piece you don't want to pop out, right? And I don't think it will. But you know what? Just to be sure, because this is the brains of the machine, just do this and then press down, and voila. Now it's not going to pop out if it's tilted this way, that way, and any which way. Okay? Just a solution, quick fix. And then we're just going to apply solder to all the parts that are needed on the board. Remember, soldering iron has to wake up. Looks like I wasn't down for too long, because the soldering iron woke up super fast. Nice. La la la. Look at that. See, everything is just flowing. And your solder, don't worry, we're going to be building another drone soon. I just want to do 1 or 2 more soldering projects, and then we will go to the drone, 3D printed drone or popsicle drone. I'm not sure yet. Do some research on that. All right, so look, now the chip holder's there. You could always recycle this. Okay, it looks like we could use it again on a couple other parts. Remember, the groove goes in the shape of the groove. All right, let's see what else they want us to do next. We did that. Oh, now we do the transistors. Okay, transistors are really easy to install because they come with a little groove, like a moon-shaped thing, and like this part right there. So there's only one way to put them in. And if you don't know how to put them in, that's okay, because look, you put them in according to the same way it's built on the board, straight, and then you have your little like hexagonish shaped thingy. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky because sometimes they'll just pop right into the hole, and other times you have to bend them so that because the hole in the middle is further back and the hole in the front, so this one is a makeshift one. I hate when they do it like that, because they could have easily just left the 3 holes and then the diagram, right? But unfortunately not. Oops. But we'll still get it in. It's just going to be tricky, because the hole to the back and then the hole to the front, so they didn't really make it that fluid. It's possible this was made by AI. Now, they're not always going to go all the way down, the transistors, because it's just impossible to make them flush with the board. But you do what you can, and they never are. They need to stand a little bit, kind of like those creatures from the War of the Worlds, all right? Well, that were just like a tripod. So knowing that and moving forward, this one we're going to do one at a time because it's really tricky soldering these things. And then we just apply a little heat. Remember, if it doesn't start, it means the soldering iron was sleeping. See, sleeping on the job. So we wait for it to wake up. You ever fall asleep at the office? I remember one time I did. Thank goodness I went in today, so I don't have to go in tomorrow. But one time I was so tired when my boss was out, and see, I didn't apply solder in the right place, and I fell asleep at the desk. Really, it was like, that's how tired I was. This, we can just do that, spread it a bit. Sometimes you have to move it around because you don't want to bridge the connections. Never. See, voila. Because when you bridge it, I get it, bridge it, things will just go pop, and then you short things out, which is, we do not want that. All right, so let's see. So now we can just clip it. Everything's really good. This one looks like it could use a little bit more solder, and sometimes it doesn't need more solder. Sometimes what you can do is you can use the soldering iron and just gauge how much solder is there, right? And then what you do is if you tap it, the solder that's there will spread to the other side. See, look at that, kind of neat. And then, just try and keep your tip tinned and cleaned throughout the process. Oops, and away from anything plastic that'll burn. All right, see, not bad. Look at that. Now we're just going to put the other one in. Did I put it in right? Oh, no, I didn't. But that's okay. See, I put it in wrong. All right, so what we do is to see, now you live and learn. To take the pieces out, if they were put in wrong, you could use the flux, but in this case, we're going to use the solder, right? Soldering iron, sorry, and the flux pen. So on that note, moving forward, we'll just tap it until it becomes hot. And that's why I like these boards, because if you make a mistake, right, you can desolder it, right? That's good. Looks good. Oops. And also you want to get the remnants off, and have your soldering iron, right, at the right temperature, because if it's not, then it's really hard to get it off, to be honest with you. See? Oops. Nice. And then sometimes what you can do is, wow, it's a bummer, but at least we get a little tutorial on how to remove parts. And sometimes what you can do is you can do like this, right? Just hold the soldering iron down, but it gets hot. That's the problem. So what you do is you press down and then you push. Oh, wow, interesting. That's weird. That's really weird. The pencil. Obviously, to do it, you can't use this one because this one is so delicate. So we're going to use the other one. I get to turn on my old soldering iron. Not old, but, you know, just where I can apply pressure. Another way to do it is actually with this too. Little flux thingy. If you can get the flux out. Looks like it's stuck in there. But we'll just pull it out just right here. See, somehow that comes out. And you just pull it. See? And then what you do is, well, when the soldering iron heats up, we'll use this one because this one you can apply more pressure. And watch our dragon. And then if you do this, you can, if all goes well, make sure your tip is clean and tinned at the same time. In this case, I'm going to do it over here. Usually you do like this, look. Oh wow, this is a little bit of a bummer because this tip looks like it's shot. Bummer. That's how long it's been since I used it. I have plenty of tips though. Yeah, and solders. If your tip is shot, there's no way you're going to get solder to stick to it, which is a bummer. So I got to shut that off. Put a new tip on there. This one this one you can't apply pressure to it. That's the only problem with this. So what we'll do is we'll just use some of the flux thingy, which should get the solder off. Then pray that it comes out, and it will, with a little bit of heat. And then what we can do is we can apply some more pressure there, and that should do the trick. Voila. See? Voila. And now what you do is you put it in correctly. So what we do is we'll just reverse the wires, like forward, forward, backwards, backwards. And that's why some boards are tricky, because they don't some boards, not all boards, but this one in particular. And if you get the back one in, you're good. And then the rest will just fall right into place. And you want them to be exposed, right, from the other side. And as long as they're exposed from the other side, like we can see them, your connection will be golden. And then you just solder it in. The only downside is you may have to apply some heat so that they push right through. See, there's that one, and then this one, and that one. Everything just becomes exposed. That's pretty good. You could go deeper, but it's going to be a little bit harder to go deeper. Nice. And actually not at all. All right, so that's pretty good with that. I just want it to be at a certain point, and then voila. All right, now we can apply solder again and clip it. Actually, before we apply solder, yes, that is incorrectly. Make sure the parts are in correctly. Don't do what I just did. And then you grab your solder. It took a while. I think I need a new one of these, because when I pluck it, the little flakes pop out, and you don't want remnants of your previous projects falling onto your newer project. All right, let's see. Nice. And you see how we were able to do it without ruining the board. One, because we applied flux in the beginning, and two, this is a really, really high quality board, especially for the price. Definitely have to change, even though I don't use that soldering iron anymore, definitely want to put a new tip on it, which I have laying around somewhere, because as you can see, you just never know when you might have an emergency like we just did. Because apparently you can't push with that soldering pencil. It won't let you. All right, so now we do the other one. Remember, make sure this flat straight piece goes with the flat and the curve with the curve. Oh, you know what I did? You know why I lined it up correctly, but then I think I flipped the board over and then put it in thinking it was the other hole. So don't do that. So just like follow it, going in, going down. And this one should go in, and then double check again. See? Oh, nice. And it lined up with the other one. Flat, flat. See that? Flat. And then for this, will be as easy as 1, 2, 3, because we'll just pop a little solder in. See? Sometimes if you just tap the board, not the board, but the wire, right, with solder, it just melts really nice, and it just bleeds right in. And that's what you want it to do. You want the solder to bleed right into its joint slash connector board, you know, so that it just goes in. And let's see, this one is really well. It's funny, I was talking about before this happened, the hardest part was probably going to be the motors, but then I messed up. All right, see, pretty good though, pretty good. Looks good. We're getting there. Almost there. Nice. All right, so now what they want us to do is the red LED and the capacitor. Capacitors are really easy to install. 25 volt and the red LED. Okay. So if you followed me before with the LEDs, the short part of the LED is the negative side. Okay. So that's going to go here. Remember, the short part is just negative, so you want the short part going in one particular way. And voila, there's that. And then we take the other red LED, see that? And then follow it. The one with the slash going through it is the negative, so which means that the short part should be on the right side. The short part over here should be on the left side. Yep, because that's where the slash is. Okay. And then looks like this will require some pressure or tape, maybe. In this case, looks like pressure will be good enough. I'm just going to double check, because you know we want these to be flush and flush. And then we're going to take our pencil soldering iron. It's at 500. Looks like we have to wake it up. And with these, just keep solder on one side, one on the other, and just let the heat, right, do its job. And if it's not melting, it means because it hasn't reached the right temperature. For me, it's 660. Let's see, 674, 685, 690. Nice, 99. So it never gets to 700, 698, 699. And then when I tap it, see, it just melts right on there. Sometimes too fast. See, we got one. Remember, sometimes you just might have to turn it. Oh, bummer. The wires aren't spliced. I thought that was the least they could do, is splice my wires. See, sometimes it just doesn't bleed, and you got to make it bleed, which is how you get your. See, that one bled, and this one bled. Nice. And sometimes if you tap it on the side, it'll bleed even more into where it's supposed to go. So we got these in, these LEDs. Looks like we got some more cutting to do. Let's see, we have one here. See, one here and one here. Oops, and one there. I'll have to find that part later. Nice. Remember, don't bridge your connections, okay? Nice. It's getting there. All right, so now we have the capacitors. Two capacitors. Let's just double check them. 25 volt and 25 volt, which means that they're both the same, so they're both going to go to where they need to go, but the short part is the negative side, okay? And this is similar to the LED, except here they only tell you where the positive side is, okay? So knowing that and moving forward on the board, they go. Let's see where they go, right? And they tell you where they go in the front, which is right there, which is where I was pointing. So with the capacitors, it's usually the positive with the positive and the negative, oops, with the negative. So in this case, look, see short part that way? See the short part? Okay. In this case, I'm going to do, we can do both. Looks like, remember, positive, positive. And as you can see, always check your parts as soon as you put them in, because, or even after you solder them, because sometimes they can be soldered wrong. Like you saw, even though I put it in wrong, I check. But I, just do double check as you're putting it in. And sometimes when it's like, when you flip it, it's one way, then you flip it the other way, it's the way it's supposed to go. So like what I just did, it just came backwards. So knowing that and moving forward, as long as you have a flux thingy, you're fine. Or the suction. See, there's one, and there's two. Now the hardest part with capacitors is that you can't double check them. So you got to make sure that they're in correctly. Otherwise, you won't know until later. See, that bled really well. This one should bleed really well too. That one bled really well too. All right, we got our capacitors in, which is great. They kind of like little batteries. They store power. I remember we used to blow them up in school. It was fun when we built the power supply. We'd attach them and then apply the necessary voltage to override them and then just pop them. It was just, stuff you do when you're young. Nice. There we go. We got the capacitors in. Oh, we're almost done. See, everything moves around like I was saying, but, everything just flows the way they're supposed to. Just watch out for these things because they fly around everywhere. So now, let's see what part they want us to do next. Looks like, electronic capacitors. Install self-locking switch S1 and S2, 103. Well, that's these things. The locking switch. Where are they? I had them. Oh, here's one. See how things just, like they had them standing, but they just moved over, which is fine. These are really easy to install because, look, there's only one way to put them in. 103. Oh, they're both the same. Okay. So as you can see, they just go right in. And, you want them to, there's only one way to put them in. See that? And they won't go all the way in. So you just put them in until they stop, which is really cool. The self-locking switch. Nice. See that? There's that sump pump again. Let's see. Self-locking switch at S1. And interesting. Oh wow, interesting. Photoresistor. Where does the photoresistor go? Make sure the photoresistor height is at 5 millimeters. Well, this is the locking switch. Okay. Let's see. Because the photoresistors is probably what's going to be reading the black. And the photoresistors go right there underneath. Interesting. But we're not there yet. See, this goes here, right? And then if you flip it over, interesting. Where are we? Where are my photoresistors? Ah, right there. Interesting. GR1, GR2. That's what's going to be tricky, is putting the photoresistors in, because they have to be, too bad they didn't mark them, right? Well, let's solder this thing in first and then put in the photoresistor. Hopefully the soldering iron didn't fall asleep all the way and it's ready to be woken up. Okay, things, remember, these aren't going to fall out, so they won't require any tape. But if yours do, just apply tape. 500, remember, it has to be at almost 700 for the soldering iron to start melting the solder. And once it is at the right temperature, nope, not yet. See, oh, there we go. We can apply and then, so remember, you can get it to bleed by holding it around it, because you know, then you don't wind up putting on too much solder. See, let it bleed. Then we get 3. And then we get 3. 2. See, they should have made the photoresistors, right? Like the parts I'm just soldering right now, where they just go in. They just stop, but they can only go in so far. But unfortunately not. So this part we're going to have to try and figure. But thankfully it's a photo resistor, so it's going to be reading the black line. But I recommend just getting them to match, and not too far to the ground where it's dragging, because remember, you have to see, look, and there's a hole right there. See that? And it has a symbol that you see. You just match the symbols. I'm gonna say right about there, right? Or you know what? See, they should have told us to do. Let me see. They should have marked them, but I think I have an idea. Interesting. Okay, so we can put the LED in first, right? And then when the LED is in, the photo resistor goes right about nearly above the I'll show you basically. Hold on a second. So the LED goes in, right? Let's see where the LED goes in. There's a little line, right? You follow the LED. Negative is negative. Remember, the short part's negative. So according to the picture, the LED goes in right about there, where it stops, like where it locks in, which is great, because we're going to use that as our point of reference when we put in the photoresistor. And then now, they should have done it that way, because their way is backwards. Because once you put this in, you'll use this as a guideline. Now the only problem is soldering it, right? So what we'll do is we can still solder it. I don't think it's going to move. Oh, nice. Yeah, because the variable resistor is actually shorter, which is great. All right, so now we're just going to grab some solder and see if we can. This word's going to be really tricky, but you got this, because I will walk you through. Don't touch the LED with the soldering iron, because you will melt it. Okay. Nice. We got one LED in. Tap it. Remember to tap it so that you don't bleed the connector. And then we're going to do the other one. A little bit tricky. Might need, if you have alligator helping hands, whatever they're called, use them. Nice. Whoops. There we go. Another one. Remember, don't bleed the connection. And now if we take this out, right? Yeah, it would have been harder the other way, actually. Now we're just going to do the other one. The other LED. Got one. And let this one bleed a little bit. Bleeding is good. And now we're going back to the other one. Oh, nice. Looks like this side needs solder too. So the only tricky part with this is that getting the solder in. Oops. I'm just getting it to bleed. Bleed the right amount. Not too much, not too little, but just right so that. And this was tricky because that's it. Nice. This is tricky because it usually when you solder these the other way. So we're kind of doing it backwards, like it's because it's going at the bottom. So everything's in reverse. Now these photo thingies, what are they called again? The photo resistors. They have this symbol. Don't touch it with the soldering iron, but they have the symbols so that the symbols go into the hole. But what's great about this is that we're following it according to the diagram. So they're only going to go as low as they need to go. Whoops. See, this is the tricky part. So this is where we drop the soldering iron. Put them at the point where they need to be according to the picture, right? Oh no, we're just following the directions. Let me just scroll a little bit. Scroll, yeah, because, and then according to the picture, they're about as low as. See, it'd be nice if they put the solder on this side, right? Because then it would be ideal. So now we just have to get this. We're going to bend it, right? According to the picture, the height in the picture. Because once we bend it, see that? It's not going anywhere. And I believe right about there is fine. Yeah. Now, it's a tricky part because we want the photo. Oh, man. We want the photoresist. Oh, you know what? We can wrap it around the capacitor, right? So that it holds. And then we'll take the other one and wrap it around. Wrap it around. Just want to see where gravity is bringing it. Wrap it around. Oh, something else. We can wrap it around the brake switch. See? So that it holds it. Because we don't want it to go anywhere. And then we'll bend it so that it stays. Whoops. See, this part's really tricky. But we can solder it, right? Sideways. Or not even, yeah. Solder it sideways so that it doesn't. Oh, man. Or do that. If that makes any sense. I really don't know how they got this on there, but we'll get it. Ah, there we go. Lock it in like that. Yep, that did it. So now, see what I just did? I just sort of like bridged it on in a weird way. Now, yeah, it would have been. I don't. Yeah, I'm just speechless. But we got it at the right length. I mean, oh, be careful because one slight move will have you pulling out your hair. All right, so let's try that again. Let's see. We want to get it. You know what'll get it from what I was thinking, what I was talking about earlier. The tape. It's the only way we're going to do it. Yep. So let's get some tape. Tape it so that it doesn't move. All right. And then now, this one is fine. You can just push it in. That's holding it. All right, see, look, use the painter's tape. It's straight, as straight as can be. And then now, put it at whatever angle you want to solder it. In this case, if we tap it, make sure your temperature is right. Oh, nice. Looks like that didn't take too long because the soldering iron did not fall asleep. Okay, let's see. Just like put it in a little bit. We got one, and then we'll get the other one. And then once it's in, right, we can bend it as need. Of course, and also, nice, just double check your joints, and of course your solder, because as you can see, it got caught. And then this should be pretty fluid. A little tricky because the access point is really, if you tap it, it should just bleed. Nice, it bled. That's when you know. Gotta blow that because I don't want folks to start waking up if the smoke detector goes off. See, we got one. Really nice. Superb. You can move that, see? And then we just match the other one up to that one. And again, remember, you just use the tape, and then voila. All right, so we'll put that in right about there. Wow, they really make this hard. And thankfully we have the LED, right? Has a guide to help us with where it's going to cap off with its height. And you can wrap it around because remember we don't have any power running through it, so it's all right in that sense. We just want the height to be identical to the other one. Okay, so once it is, take that tape and we can reuse it, right? Because there's nothing on it. Make sure there's nothing on the tape. And then we're just going to push it. And then, nice. It matches. And of course, remember, we're soldering this way. Just double check. Yeah, I think it's all right. It's as good as it's going to get. Voila. All right. Well, no voila just yet because we're not done. We're not out of the ballpark until we solder it, right? Except I want it to be even. I want it to be exact. There. That looks about right. Only because it's going to be reading that black line. Nice. And if we're quick enough, right before the pressure starts pushing it down, if we can get one, we are golden. We got one, and it bled. I'm gonna make sure. And two. Once you get one, you'll have no trouble getting the other. Voila. And that bled. Now we'll just clip everything from the other side. And you can just push gently, you know, not really. I think it works well. All right, so now we take the tape off, right? And we can start clipping these things. Or leave them, right? Whatever works. Nice. Let's make sure nothing else happens to them. Nice, and then next goes the bolt. Okay, so on that note, we can start snipping away. I'm going to snip them not flush yet, just in case. So the LEDs, you can snip the same way. Whoops. A lot of the snipping clippings are just flying all over the place. Yeah, but they're pretty taut. Snip it. Snip it. And 2 more snips for the LEDs. 1 here and 1 there. And once the piece is working, we can snip everything accordingly. Wow, we're almost done. Wow, look at that. Getting there. And now we're just going to put the bolt in like it says. I guess the bolt kind of helps it glide. So that it goes this way. Let's see. So this goes like this, right? Like that. See that? And it goes through, and then we're gonna screw this all the way to the bottom. So this might take a little bit of time. See? And you can also, you know, if you use your fingers, you could use one of these things to turn it. Whoops. It's okay. You know, because it looks like it's not. And then what you could do is you can hold it, right? And use a screwdriver to turn it if you have one. So you'll hold the bolt and then turn it as tight as can be. Looks like that's pretty tight. It's not going anywhere. It's flush. And then, right, put this thing on. I guess that helps it glide. Not sure how low it goes, but presumably it glides it. We could probably adjust it once we have the wheels on. There's our capacitor. Nice, we're almost there. Let's see what else they want us to do. Next, oh nice, the screws go in there with these little yellow thingies. They're called the Install 4-piece 2mm yellow gaskets. So we're going to install the gaskets. We have our 4 screws here. See how things move around as you're putting them together. So here go our gaskets, which go into the 4 holes on the opposite side of the chip, which is right here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. And I presume what we'll do is we'll put 1 in, right? Whoops. That part's a little bit tricky. So we put 1. Remember, it's a long silver screw, I believe. Yep. And then put the gasket in. Not sure what we're going to put in the gasket, but I guess they're not going in all the way. Whoa, be careful because they do fall. We're not just putting them in so that they're somewhat at the point that they need to be. And if you want, you can just have a look at the picture, right? And see installation direction. No, don't fix them for the time being. Okay, so we won't fix them for the time being. Okay. So I guess we just get them in so that they're in, but not really in, but so they don't lock in. They don't want them to lock just yet. All right, so we got another gasket. This part is a little bit tricky because then it'd be nice if they just turned, but we're just applying pressure, the weight, you know, of them just weight of the gasket. And you see they're not popping out. So we're just putting them in gently, right? And then just doing like that. Whoops. And they really are hard to handle. But we could always, whoops, get back to them later. You know, if need be. Push comes to shove. No pun intended. Given that we're pushing these in. And watch your fingers too, because you do not want to hurt yourself or puncture your fingers. All right, so we got that. Looks like now we have the congs, or what do they call them? They call them the axles. All right, great. So that's what those pipes were for. Axles, little axles, which will go into, we got 1, 2, right? 2 little axles. See that? And let's make sure that we put these on correctly. So it looks like the holes are pointing up. Yes, and the axles go all the way through so that it's flush with there. Okay? Hopefully these axles are not a pain in the... Oh, never mind. I spoke too soon. So what happens is you have to apply pressure and stop right before it's about to puncture through. Don't worry about your surface. That's what this is for. Both this is really soft, so it would leave a dent mark. And then do the same thing with the other one. Nice. Push it. Don't push it through. Just push it so that it's flush. And so that basically they do that. See that? And now we'll get the other part of the axle, which is this little joint thingy. Oh, and then we get a little, see, put that in. And then we'll put one in here. Nice. And then we're going to use the yellow piece, the axle, okay, and use the gasket to close it, but not all the way. Leave like, looks like we're leaving a little bit of a gap. Okay, if that makes any sense. And there should be only 2 left. Okay. All right. So we're just gonna push that through. Wow. They really do make it hard. So this is really functioning like a gasket because it's pretty tight. And let's just make sure there's only one way these things go on. Yep. So the gasket's going to go not flush. We're following. Whoa, careful there, because sometimes it looks like it can go too far in too fast. Just going to match it up to the picture. That looks about right. See that? Great. And do the same thing with the other one. Apply this little piece on there, the axle. Oops, I already put one on there. And then grab the gasket. Interesting. Yep. Perfecto. All right. Do the same thing with this one. Just leave a little bit of space, not a lot, just a little. Oh, and remember, try not to, don't push the other end through because you don't want that. So it's better to do like this. Lay it flat and then push it through so that it goes as far as it needs. Like it matches the other one. Just leave that little bit of space. Yep, that looks about right. And now we're going to apply the gear. Okay, nice. So the gear. Oh, yeah, it looks like they have a little bit of spacing between the gear and the axle. All right, so that's fine. We can fix that by pulling it out just a little bit, but not a lot. So that this part of the gear goes out, right? Oh, don't tell me this one's going to be a pain too. Yeah. It's all right though. Just be careful putting it in. So we're just going to push this. Whoops. Push it, push it, push it. Looks like, I guess so, it's like somewhat flush with the axle, but not all the way flush because it doesn't look like they're touching. Okay, interesting. All right, so we'll do the same thing with the other one. And then it looks like the other part of the axle goes here. Oh, nice. And the end. Looks like, yeah, right about there. Just put that there, and then we're going to build another one. Okay, we're going to take the other axle. All right, and then remember it goes with the gear. And we're just going to move that junk out of the way. We're almost done. And then we're going to push it on, let them match a little bit. It's kind of like a car. It's functioning that way in a sense where we'll just leave playroom, right? Room to play so that in case we need to adjust it. And now these little washer thingies go on accordingly. That's what it looks like in the picture. We're just following along. And then we should have two axles left. We'll put the other one on in a second. Oh, so it's a tire. Kind of cool. These are tires, so that it's not rolling on, just a piece of plastic or just the axle. So then we put this on like that. Really neat. Except we want to make sure that the wheel is flush and doesn't twist. It can twist, but I just want it to be a certain way. All right. And now there go the two axles. Let's see. So let's see, this one goes here. Looks like we can manage with that. Manage with that. Worm on motor shaft. Okay. Interesting. So it looks like now we're going to put on the motors. Oh, look, and then we make the other parts flush. Oh, okay, because that's part of the motor. All right, so here go the motors. I believe they are, oh wow, we never did the switch, which is really interesting. I was wondering when we were going to do that. Switch, there's no rhyme or reason. It just goes in, the way it's supposed to go in. We'll just get the switch in there before we do the other part. And as you can see, oh nice, it's really tight. I like when they're tight because then you don't need any tape. So then we wake up our soldering iron. It's going to take a little bit. Looks like it's sleeping. Wake up. Sometimes, oh, welcome back to everything that glitches. You might have to do that. And as you can see, it is back in business. Maybe, you know what, I took too long and it went into a deep sleep. Okay. So it's going to take a little bit to heat up. While it does that, make sure we have enough soldering iron that will reach. Yep, plenty. Remember, 699, almost 700. This is a really interesting project, I have to say. Look, we're just about done. We just have the motors, which will be a little bit tricky because we have to strip the wires. And what else? The screws to these thingies. And I believe that's it, right? And that's pretty much, yeah, definitely. Wow. Yep, the axles will be installed. All right, so then we'll tighten the other ones. There goes that sump pump again. All right, so we're going to solder this. Oops, and then there. And if it doesn't bleed, just apply some more flux. Because remember, you're manhandling the board, and just, some of the flux will have been rubbed off and onto your finger. So that's the switch, which is great. Nice, we are almost done. We got the axles, right? We've got the little the gaskets and the axles, like I just said, and nice. So now we're just going to put the motors in. I don't know why. Oh, so adjust the screws to facilitate subsequent installation that has been, okay, so we'll adjust the screws later in a bit. But let's get in the motors. All right, so the motors go in a certain way. So you see, we're just going to match it. All right, so that, well, again, nothing to match right now. But as you can see, right, this part right here, right, that little gap goes this way, okay? Terminal connector, which is probably going to be on the wires right there. All right, in the front of it, which will probably be, not sure just yet, but we need to put them in the way that they go in accordingly. So we have this here, and the good thing is that that's what those other screws are for, which are right there. See, so what we're going to do is make sure you have a screwdriver handy, and we're going to screw in the motors. Kind of cool. For this, we're going to use a Phillips head. Okay, and then there we go. There's one. Hopefully. Nice. There's one. I wonder if they're magnetic. Yeah, they are. I love when they're magnetic because they're easier to put in. You don't have to try and finagle it with your fingers. You could somehow drop it in, right? Whoops. Spoke too soon. But it's just easier that way if you're lucky. Just line it up with the hole and then turn it and then voila. See? Kind of neat, huh? And then make sure that this is according to the diagram. See that? Because I believe the wires are just going to be soldered probably here in the motor hole because it says motor. And then the other one goes, yep, they both go the same way because it's the wheels, so they're both spinning in the same direction. Okay? And then, excuse me. Now we just have to do the other one. You know, you can do like I'm doing right now instead of using, you know, the screwdriver. You could just use your fingers, but it's better to use a screwdriver because then you don't have to worry about letting it pop. Line up the hole, right? See how the hole's lined up? And then let's see if we can get this one in. Voila. Except watch your hands. Make sure there's no tape. Oop, where did it go? We just had, oh, yeah, be careful. Especially if you have carpet. Thankfully, these screws are black, so you can see them. But, you know, I guess maybe my screwdriver needs to be magnetized a little bit more. Okay, and now we have here these little washers. Adjust the screw to facilitate for subsequent. I'm not sure why. Oh, so let's apply this right here. The motor shaft worm. It's called a worm. Let's see, which way does the worm go? Doesn't look like there's any rhyme or reason to which way the worms go, but they can always be removed, hopefully, and try not to bend them. We're just going to push them in so that they're flush, like in the picture. Not too flush, but just flush enough. Don't hurt your fingers. You can the motors turn, which is great, but we want them to be at the right length according to the image, right? Not too all the way in, not in. Yeah, right about there. And you probably want them both to match. See, that looks good. All right, and then we're going to do the other one. The other worm, it's called a worm. Interesting. Okay. Put the other worm on. Looks like they both go worm, whoops, worm-like. Make sure your workspace is workable so that when parts fall, they just are self-contained. But sometimes it's hard to keep them self-contained because you know, just doesn't always work that way. Might apply some more solder, but that's all right. Wow, this is really hard to get in there. Yep. Yeah, almost. Almost. I wonder if we could just push them in. Well, I want to be able to see what I'm pushing in, to be honest with you. It's a bummer because it's really tricky. It tries some strength. And thought I was pretty strong. Yep, that looks about right. No, yeah, sort of. Looks kind of right. I could always push them in a little bit more, but I'm just going. It looks like they're flush in the picture, to be honest with you. So you know what? But just watch your fingers, though. We might be able to push them in, like this way. Yeah. Yep. We can. And thankfully, right, they are, they're screws that are holding them in. All right, so now it says to adjust these. I'm not sure why we didn't do that first. See, this one's backwards too. I'm not really sure, but you know, oh, I see. Interesting. All right, so these go flush. Hopefully they. Wonder if they don't push in. So we're gonna have to use the screwdriver and I guess turn them so that they go flush. Right? Don't need that. Hopefully, in the perfect world. Just turn them until they, see, they go in. Nice. So they went in, because I guess that's what the drive shaft is going to sit on, according to the picture. See, yeah, they should have had us. Well, oh, you know why? They probably didn't want us to poke ourselves. Yeah, because I could see, yeah, us getting hurt. So they want us to save this part for the next part. So that's why they said line them up, but don't put them in just yet, because you would definitely stab yourself, literally. And they're really hard to get in, to be honest with you, which is a bummer. So you really are going to manhandle your hands doing this unless you use pliers. Yeah, you're probably going to need pliers on some of these because they're really hard to screw in. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to get pliers because this definitely hurts the hand. So, on that note, and moving forward, I am going to get a pair of pliers because this is painful. So what you do is you get the pliers, right? And then you'll just hold that piece like that, and then take the screwdriver and let the oops. Actually, you could do like this, watch. This part's a little bit tricky. Hold it. Pretend, just do what I was doing with my hand, but let the, and don't squeeze the, super tricky. No, looks like the pliers wasn't working. I'm just gonna hold it with my hands to help seat it, right? And then, yeah, we got one. See if I can get the other one. Just gotta hold it really tight. But if your hands don't work, use the pliers, but don't strip, the screw. Let's see if we can hold that one. Maybe since I gave my hand a rest. some extent. That one, see, we got one. Just didn't get one. Maybe hold it. And then do it. Got it. So that worked. All right, wow, that was really hard. All right, so now we should have a second axle. Looks like we're just going to put the wheels on and maybe the batteries and the brain. If the wheels might be a little tricky though. Okay, so let's see. One wheel looks like it will go here on that side. Oh, I see. Oh, nice. So it goes right on the axle. Oh, sweet. Supposedly, I guess we seat it in. Let's see. It says we did that. We did that. Okay, fix 2 pieces assembly wheel on 4 pieces. Okay, we did that. I don't think we're screwing it though. Oh, okay, so that part is easy. I mean, lining this part up with that, right? Because that's what's going to turn it when the motor starts to spin. But the question is how? Interesting. How do we get that in? I guess we turn it with the screwdriver. Let's see what happens if we turn it. And screw it in. Oh yeah, it's turning. Nice, and it just seats itself, locks in, except, interesting. Oh, I see how that goes, but, oh, I see, in the other axle, right, locks in. There should be 2. Oh, yeah, don't lose these. And the other one locks in the other one so that it actually does what it's supposed to do. Except we might have to undo one a little bit so they all go in at the same time. That's okay, we can unscrew one. If that makes any sense. And then screw the other one in. Nice. Because that, see, is how it goes. And then we'll just line it up. Whoops. Once it's lined up, see, once it's lined up with the hole, it'll hold, and then we'll screw it in. And then it'll lock on. Nice. Really nice. And then it's lined somewhat, yeah, it's lined up with the worm, was what they call it. But this has to be tight because if it's moving, it's not gonna, see, it's not gonna lock onto the motor, the worm, and then it won't turn. Nice, really, and there's a on-off. Then you do the same thing with the other one, except now we know how to do it, right? So we have to make sure that this is on, right? And then we put it in, and the wheels go, whoops, whoa, there's that sump pump again. And the wheels go, you know, identical to the other one, where the, and then we have to match it. Match that, and it's adjustable, which is great. And then we apply, whoops, see, there's the tricky part. So you want to do it so that it happens at the same, wow, this is really tricky. At the same time, so what we do is we align one up, and we align the other one up, voila. And then we apply pressure, and as the pressure is applied, right, what you're going to do is you're going to turn it. Got one, and then turn the other one. And then, hopefully in the perfect world, it should start turning the screw. But Don't want to strip it. Don't strip it. Because one will go in and one won't. Like that one. Now we got one more to get in without stripping it, so that the wheels are even, which is this one. Oh, whoops. It's okay, we didn't strip it, but we just, nice. Just nicked my hand, that's all. Nice, voila. Looks like we got it. Could use a bigger screwdriver if need be. Or use this, right, to turn the other piece if you can. But it looks like we almost got it. Almost. Looks like it's somewhat, it's in there. Yeah. All right, so we got that. Looks like that'll turn. Looks like they'll both turn. Nice. Really nice. Is it straight? Yep, it's flat. It's even. Now for the wires. All right, looks like the wires and the brain and the batteries. Okay, so now blue, green. Okay. Oh, nice. We'll just take from here. Blue and green. So first we have green, and then we'll do the blue. A little bit of a bummer because I'm not a big fan of these kind of wirings because they're really hard to get in. But once you got them in, you get them in. Okay, so blue is, I wonder if it doesn't tell you which one's positive and which one's negative. It's in Chinese, but we're just going to follow the connections. Okay, so blue is on, we can always look at the diagram. Blue is on the left and green is on the right. The only downside is we have to strip them, right? So that, oh wow, that's not coming out. If you have a razor blade handy, use it, because it's the only way you're going to get, well, hold on a second. Interesting. Oh, there's tape. I was like, wait, where's the, looks like there were 2 screws that went in there. All right, so on that note, moving forward, looks like we're gonna have to gently, right, cut the wire so that we can expose it and take it out. See that? You just slice it gently without fraying it. One will go on one side. The other side maybe a little bit longer. But the part that's going into the hole that's going to be soldered, just short. Just short enough, right, to go in and expose itself on the other side. So that we can just, yeah, that's plenty enough. We can make them all that same length. So let's say right about there, right? And then we'll use this, whoops, and then we will, and remember, do it slow, just enough to go through and around so that the wire, you don't cut it in half. If you do, you will shorten the length, which is fine, but you want it to be a little bit longer so that it can go through there. So for this one, the part that goes to the motor, we're going to make it a little bit longer so that we can actually run it through. I mean, don't worry if you break it. I'm pretty sure you can, this is not any special wire. You can find this wire on Amazon. See? Voila. We're splicing it, and now we're going to make the other one the same length so that they go where they need to go. Remember, you're just doing it so that you could wrap it around and make a secure connection. Voila. And then what you do is you bend it, fold it, and then splice it through. Not splice it, just strip it. This one will just twirl. That one will just twirl. And let's see, in the perfect world, it should come through like that. But we want to do them all at the same time, you know. So take the other two wires and do the same thing. Okay? Make them the same length when it comes to stripping them. This way, there's just, everything just flows and goes where it needs to go. And then we're just going to, I was going to say tin them. I don't know. Yeah, maybe tin them. Tin them and then run them through the hole. The trouble with tinning these is that if we tin them too thick, they may not fit through the hole. And then, but they should in the perfect world. And there's that. We'll strip this. Strip this one. We're almost done. We are almost home. There. Just twirl it gently enough to bend the wire, and yeah, see, bend and strip, and then twirl it because it's just going to go around the motor. And one more. Did we do them all? Nope. There's right here the gray one. So we'll just, looks like the gray. We're going to do the long first. Gently roll it in. Don't splice through. If you do, I'm sure I have other wire somewhere from one of the other kits. We just bend it. See, when it bends, it's easier to strip. Twirl it. No need to tin this part because we're going to twirl it all the way through. And last but least, we got that. Oh, we got the gray and one more piece so we can run it through the hole. And the solder will catch the rest. You know, just tap it. And voila. Twirl it. All right, so we're going to do the first one, which is blue and green. Okay, blue and green. Run it through the hole. Run it through the hole. Okay. Here's the tricky part. So the first one, let's see if we do this first, right? Because once we're done soldering it, see, and then you're just gonna twirl it around. And it's easier to twirl it around, right, when before it's soldered, because then it's just locked on. And then you could tin it from that end once we know it works, though. A blue, you know, like I wouldn't do it right now, because what if we have to undo it? Then we're pretty much, it's stuck. Then you really have to go into your wire kit and get another piece of wire. Okay, so we'll do that. See? And then we'll twirl it. Just so that you want to do it so it's all the way through. Perfect. And just do that. And then bend it halfway. And then when it's bent halfway, you can twirl it. And then tin it, you know, when we know it works. Okay. And then we'll do the other one, because remember we have to manhandle it and twirl it. So might as well just put all the wires on, which is right here. And in this order, it goes, oh, okay. Well, it doesn't really matter because left is left and right is right. I'm like, wait, because on the picture, again, the colors are off, but we have 2 wires, one's left and one's right. So there's really, you can't go wrong here. I was like, wait, they don't match. It's like on TV, cut the red wire and the blue wire. And like, wait, but it's going into the wrong circuitry. Literally. I'll show you in a second. All right, so in the picture, it's orange and yellow. And here we have gray and whatever the other color is, and purple. But it doesn't matter because they're going into their respective holes in the image. Like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. Okay, so there's the long one there. This one may be a little bit too short, but it'll still work. Okay, and we'll bend that out a little bit. And then push it through. Halfway point, bend it. And then we're going to twirl it to sort of like braid it in so it locks. And you could also use solder. Once we know it works, we'll just solder the joint. All right, so here we are. Look at that. 2 more steps. Now we're going to put the wire through the hole. This one we can do one at a time because, or not, because as long as the wire comes through right, if when we flip it over, we can just solder it. In the perfect world, most likely not, because when we flip it over, it might change its position. This one's really hard to get through, so we have to try and be really careful when turning it. It has to be really thin, right? You could tin it. Tinning it might actually do it. I just don't want to tin it because if it's too thick, it won't fit through the hole, and then we're pretty much screwed. This one looks like we're going to have to wake the soldering iron up. If you have alligator clips, do use them. Looks like my settings changed. So that's twice. I guess I fell asleep for way too long. But that's okay. It gives us time to adjust the wiring, right, accordingly so that it just comes through. We might have to fix one. Looks like it's too short. Nope. As long as we can get it to work with the connection, that one's really good. Okay. This one's going to be really good. All right. So on that note, 400. Remember, it's got, for this soldering iron, it has to be at 600. Once we get it in its right perspective temperature, we will be golden. All right. Let's see. Almost 566. Remember, it has to get to almost 700. There's that sump pump again. Okay. And looks like we were almost there. Nice. Let it bleed. I'm not sure about the other one. I'm still debating whether to push it a little bit more. Oh, nice. I see. Nope, we can fix that. We just want the current to flow all the way through, and I find it hard to believe that we can just make it longer a little bit. Just enough to bring it through, right? So that we can get, we can strip it. Watch your fingers. Don't hurt yourself. There, that'll definitely do it. Longer the better, but not too long, right? Where we have like wire going everywhere. All right, so that takes care of that. Remember, it has to go through the hole. Nice, that's definitely going to work. And now, grab your soldering iron and Make sure your tip is where it needs to be. Don't touch the plastic because you don't want to melt anything, especially with the gears. Nice. I took care of that because if you melt the gears, it's not going to work. Let's see, this one looks like it's longer too, which is great. So remember, they're just going lined up to everything that you see. All right, so that takes care of that. And as long as it's like slanted, right, it's gonna work. And then this, remember, don't touch the plastic. Nice, that takes care of that. And one more wire and we're done. Well, two more after that because we got to put the power source in. But looks like one more. Yep. All right, almost there. Remember, we're going to spin it, twirl the wire so that it just works its magic, and put it through the hole. Nice, it takes care of that. This one will work really well. And we're pretty much just some power after this. Remember, don't touch the gears with the soldering iron because it will, you will pretty much fry this experience. Nice, got it. Don't bleed the connections either, because I mean, you can and fix it, right? But that's the last thing you want to do. Oh man. Well, I didn't bleed any connections, but I had the wires going all the way through, so that's fine. All right, it just seemed a little bit short. Nice. All right, so that takes care of that. Now for the batteries, right? Positive is positive and negative is negative, which is right here. So it would be ideal to put it on this side, right? If that makes any sense. See that? This will go here. But the wire, it's pretty self-explanatory. See, look, these are tinned and ready to go. So we can just put that right through. But before we do that, let's take this off. Looks like there's some adhesive here. We have a lot of these everywhere laying around, so I'm not worried about this if this has to come off. So now we do that. Whoops, oh man. You only get one take on this, sort of. I want it to line up on the lines. Okay, so remember that, line it up with the lines. Otherwise, it's a little hard to get off. This one, positive, positive, negative, negative. Okay, and I almost put the negative with the positive. This one's a little bit tricky because you have to run it through the hole. Okay, bummer. Maybe I can. All right, so now we got that. I had to bend it a little bit, but that's okay. Nice. And now you do the same thing for the positive wire, and we are golden, sort of, because now we need to make sure it works. Oh, and actually put the brains in the chip. And of course, 2 working batteries. So I noticed that when you put this in and you bend it a little, it kind of holds it and prevents it from falling out. So that's with the wire. And the last, soldering. Remember to keep the soldering iron away from the plastic. Nice. Let it bleed. And voila. Finito. Now we just need 2 batteries, hopefully. Wow, really interesting. Check that out. Kind of neat, right? And the brains. So, most likely you line the groove to the groove. And remember, the chips are hard to come out. And when you do take them out, you can either puncture yourself accidentally or ruin the chip, one or the other. So you'll either be wearing a band-aid or having punctured yourself if the chip is put in wrong. It looks like it goes groove to groove, okay? So we're matching the groove, and it's actually pointing towards the screw. All right. The moment, whoops. And if it falls out, make sure the grooves are with the groove. Don't do it like I did in the beginning, which was mess it up. And remember, if you mess it up, you can fix it. It's just, you just have to have the solder work. You can use a tweezers for this part, but it looks like we won't. Make sure everything is lined up before you start pushing it in. Oh, and then it's not. It's on the inside of the hole. It has to be, I mean, it's on the outside, and you want the prongs to go on the inside. And just double check. Voila. And match there. Yep, it's matching. Wow, look at that. Now we just need 2 batteries. I'm going to go get some batteries. And we pray it works. Hold on one second. All right, let's see if this will actually work. So we have one. Actually, I don't need these anymore. I can put this away. Turn the, whoops, be careful, don't burn anything. You can shut off your soldering iron, right? Since we don't need to solder anything anymore. So just for safety, because you don't want to leave that. Thankfully, it falls asleep though, and the temperature will, adjust accordingly. So now you can do that. Where's the on-off switch? Make sure it's off. It's off, I believe. I don't know. We'll find out if power starts to run through it, or the LEDs. Whoops, the LEDs might turn on. It's pretty durable. Whoops. Whoops. Oh, that's a bummer. So the motors are turning, but interesting. This has to go. Everything looks somewhat good. Bummer. Looks like there's a short somewhere. We got one LED going. We'll find it. Don't turn everything off too soon. All right, so let's see. We got that, we got that. Oh, I see what the problem is. Oh no, both LEDs are on now. On. This one is not on. Oh, I felt it. All right, so that wheel's turning. So the wheels turn according. All right, so that one turns, but this one, the Kong is stuck. You can adjust them. Oh, I see what needs to be done. We're gonna shut it off. Where is the off switch? Okay, so this one needs to go a little bit more, right? We can adjust it without breaking it, right? There, that should do the trick now. Now, just slide it over. The wheels need adjusting. I hear them turning, but I don't see them moving. See? And then we do the same thing. Okay. So this one is stuck. You just have to try and finagle it, right? And I believe the sensors work probably when they're covered, when they see something dark. except now we got to get the other one to turn. But I think what we can do is let's shut it off. We could solidify the connections here so that we know, right, that it's a good solid connection if we can put solder on those particular parts, so that it won't move. Okay, so on that note, we'll wait for the soldering iron to heat up and apply solder in those joints where the wires are, and then we'll test it out and see if this thing works. Remember, it's got to be at 600. Right now it's at 3. A little bit of a bummer, but at least now we can solidify these connections here once we get the soldering iron going. And then that should solve the connect and disconnect, but then we have to adjust the Kongs so that they just work accordingly. Let's see if this will do the trick. Nice. I got one. And then we'll do the same thing with the other one. Now that we know that the wiring is correct, but now it's a matter of finagling it so that the solder, not solder, but the motors just spin. But we'll adjust that in a second because the motors are spinning, but unfortunately it's the Kong setup. Oops. Nice. And they got another wire, and now they're not coming off. Now they shouldn't move, right? Now it's just a battery issue and a gear issue. Battery and gears. Okay. Nice. All right, so that's on there. That's not going anywhere. We're done with the soldering iron, so we can tin it, right? Have it ready for our next soldering adventure. And plug it out. And hopefully, in the perfect world, the Kong should start turning. See? And this one, the resistors are correct. I wonder what this one does. Let's see. Maybe that'll adjust. See, this wheel is spinning just right. Ah, there we go. Now the other one's turning. All right, so here it is. So you're going to need a screwdriver. I have this one here, but it's a flathead. Remember, you have to adjust, okay, the variable resistors so that these two lights, this light and that light, are somewhat blinking simultaneously. But when you turn it on, if you put it on a table without a track, this is what will happen. It'll just spin around in a circle. But if you put it on the track, it's just going to, see? Kind of neat, huh? It just spins around in a circle. And you could make the track. You can make one. Like, for example, let's see what happens if let's say have it go there. It should pick up there. We'll pick it up. And then here. See? And then, so you can build a whole obstacle course to your likings for this little thingy. Let's check it out. Kind of neat. And that's pretty much it. And we got it working. You see how the LEDs are blinking simultaneously? You can't have one LED on and one LED off. So what you do is you turn the knobs until the LEDs are actually doing that. And then you're golden. And then you can actually make a whole obstacle course as long as the line is black. Okay? In marker. Or you could use black tape. Kind of neat, huh? I like that. In the beginning, I was a little skeptical because it wasn't spinning around the track, but you have to actually balance the wheels. And to balance the wheels so that they move and fluctuate around the track, you have to adjust the variable resistors so that they are in that perfect spot. But you have to find that perfect spot, and each board is just designed differently, where you just have to tweak it so that you might think you bridged the connections, but you didn't. It's just because they need to be adjusted. So out of the box, it's not like a plug and play type experience. It's sort of like it's called the School Electronic Education Great Fun Gift for Electronic Hobbyists and Trainer. And it's really cool, and it's only $8 opposed to the flight controller. Remember, the flight controllers cost about 50 to 60 bucks, and even now, maybe even more. So you wanna, before you level up onto a flight controller, or even when we build the transistor radio, start with the easier projects and then level up, because an $8 botched job is easier to fix than a $60 to $100 job. So kind of neat. I can't wait to use this again. My kids will love it. They actually did one of these in school, but I think the one that you buy, and they had a project where they had to create an obstacle course for, I forget what these things are called, but here it's called the Soldering Project Kit. That's it. It's called Smart Car Kit. And, for your science fair, for your kids, or maybe you're a hobbyist and you want to get back into soldering, and you're looking for that fun project soldering experiment so that you can level up. Anyway, I hope this video helped you in leveling up with your soldering skills. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below, or ideas for other videos. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.